Part 1. The Enduring Mystery of Life's Origins. A Cosmic Perspective. Howdy, folks, and welcome on in. Today, we're going to sit back, relax, and chew on a truly fascinating idea. One that makes you look up at the night sky and wonder. We're talking about where life on our good old Earth might have first gotten its start. Now, most of us grew up hearing about that primordial soup, that warm little pond, or maybe a bubbling hydrothermal vent where the very first spark of life supposedly flickered to life right here on our own turf. And that's a heck of a story, one that smart folks in lab coats have been piecing together for a long time now. But what if that ain't the whole picture? What if there's another chapter, a real cosmic yarn that started way, way out there amongst the twinkling stars and swirling galaxies? That, my friends, is where the notion of panspermia comes into the picture. Now, panspermia, in plain speak, kind of suggests that life ain't necessarily tied down to just one planet, like our blue marble here. Instead, it throws out the notion that the basic stuff that makes up life, the amino acids, the sugars, maybe even the little microscopic critters themselves, can hitch a ride through the big old emptiness of space. Think of them like cosmic hitchhikers, drifting for millions, even billions of years, across distances that'd make your head spin, all aboard natural spacecraft like comets, asteroids, and even tiny specks of dust. Picture these microscopic pioneers, these interstellar seeds, just floating along until they bump into a planet that looks kind of cozy. A place like our young Earth, maybe. Just mull that over for a spell. Our solar system, way back when the Earth was still getting its feet under it, was a pretty rough and tumble place. Lots of big rocks banging into each other, volcanoes going off like firecrackers, and the surface getting hammered by space debris, something fierce. In that kind of ruckus, could life have just popped into existence easy as pie? Panspermia offers a different angle, a tale of tiny travelers showing up pre-made, maybe from a planet that had a head start in the whole life-making business, or maybe even leftovers from a world that ain't around no more. These cosmic taxis, the comets and asteroids, are basically giant space rocks. Comets, they're often called dirty snowballs, a mix of ice, dust bunnies, and some of those organic molecules we talked about. Asteroids are more on the rocky side, but they can still carry a whole mess of elements and compounds. When these fellas collide with planets, they can swap material like kids trading baseball cards. We've even found rocks right here on Earth that we know came all the way from Mars. So, the idea of stuff traveling between planets in our own backyard ain't some far-out notion. Panspermia just takes that idea and stretches it way out, suggesting this kind of cosmic swap meet could happen between different star systems, light years apart. Now, this ain't just some wild-eyed theory cooked up in a back room. Over the years, smart folks with telescopes and microscopes have been digging up evidence that kind of nudges us towards this idea. We're learning more and more about how tough life can be, even at the itty-bittiest level, and the darn surprising places where you can find the basic ingredients for making life happen. It's a real ongoing detective story, this search for our cosmic roots, and what we find could change everything we thought we knew about our place in the grand scheme of things. So, as we mosey on through this topic, keep an open mind, like you would when trying a new flavor of ice cream. The universe is a mighty big and mysterious place, and the story of how life got started on our little blue planet might be a whole lot more intricate and interconnected than we ever gave it credit for. Stick around, because in our next part, we're going to be looking at some of the real interesting scientific clues that kind of point towards this idea of life taking a cosmic road trip. You might just be surprised at what they've already turned up. And if you're enjoying this here exploration of the cosmos and the deep mysteries of life, don't forget to give that there subscribe button a good old click. We've got plenty more head-scratching and wonder-inducing content coming down the pike. Part 2, Unearthing Cosmic Clues, the evidence for interstellar life's journey. Welcome back, folks. In our last get-together, we dipped our toes into the fascinating waters of Panspermia. The notion that the fundamental bits and pieces of life, or even tiny living critters themselves, could hitch a ride through the big old expanse of space and maybe plant the seeds of life on new worlds. Now, let's roll up our sleeves and dig into some of the real interesting scientific clues that kind of give this cosmic travel theory some heft. One of the most compelling lines of evidence stems from the downright amazing ability of certain microscopic organisms to tough it out in the brutal conditions of outer space. Now, when most of us think about space, we picture a mighty cold, airless vacuum filled with radiation that'd fry you faster than a skillet on high. It's about as far from a comfy porch swing on a summer evening as you can get. Yet, believe it or not, scientists have stumbled upon a whole menagerie of tiny fellas known as extremophiles that can not only survive but sometimes even thrive in environments that would spell curtains for most life as we know it. Take, for instance, the truly remarkable tardigrade, often affectionately called the water bear, or sometimes even moss piglet. These little fellas are smaller than a grain of sand, but they pack a punch when it comes to resilience. They've been shown to survive the hard vacuum of space, shrug off radiation doses hundreds of times higher than what'd knock out a human, handle temperatures swinging from near absolute zero. That's about 459 degrees Fahrenheit, colder than a well digger's backside in January, all the way up to over 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to bake a potato in no time, and even withstand pressures you wouldn't believe, like down at the bottom of the deepest ocean trenches. Smart folks have even sent these little tough guys up into Earth orbit for weeks at a time, and a good chunk of them came back alive and kicking, some even ready to lay eggs. This sure does suggest that, at least at the itty-bitty level, traveling through the rigors of space might not be a complete dead end. Beyond these incredible survival skills, another mighty important piece of the puzzle comes from what we've learned by analyzing the stuff that makes up comets and asteroids. Those icy wanderers and rocky roamers of our solar system have been the targets of some real groundbreaking space missions. We've flown right by them, even landed on a few, and the data we've collected tells a surprising story. Comets and asteroids are surprisingly rich in organic molecules, the very fundamental building blocks that life as we know it is made of. We're talking about hydrocarbons, aldehydes, alcohols, and, get this, even precursors to amino acids and sometimes the amino acids themselves, which are absolutely crucial for making proteins. This sure does suggest that these celestial bodies could act like cosmic delivery trucks, carrying the essential chemical ingredients for life all over the place. Furthermore, some recent head-scratching discoveries involving ancient microbes found buried deep within the Earth's crust and down on the ocean floor add another layer to this cosmic travel tale. Scientists have drilled way down into the Earth and pulled up sediment samples that are millions of years old, and wouldn't you know it, In some of these ancient samples, they've found spores of bacteria that seem to be in a kind of long-term deep sleep. What's really something is that in a few cases, they've been able to wake these fellas up after tens, even hundreds of millions of years. That kind of staying power sure does hint that life, in a tough spore form, could potentially survive the long haul of interstellar travel, maybe nestled inside a comet or asteroid. Finally, some real interesting clues have popped up from the study of ancient zircon crystals. Now, zircon is a mighty tough mineral that can stick around for billions of years, through all sorts of geological ups and downs. Smart folks have found zircon crystals that date back as far as 4.1 billion years. And inside some of these ancient little time capsules, they found traces of carbon that looks like it came from something living, based on the different kinds of carbon atoms they found. If these findings hold up, it could mean that life might have gotten started on Earth way earlier than we ever thought. Maybe even when things were still pretty rough and tumble around here, with all those space rocks still flying around. That sure does make you wonder if maybe life didn't start here at all, but hitched a ride from somewhere else. Now, these clues ain't the final word, not by a long shot. But they're sure starting to paint a picture of a universe where life might not be such a rare and lonely thing, and where it might just have the knack for traveling around in some mighty surprising ways. Next up, we're going to take a look at a real head-scratcher in Earth's history. Something that some folks think might just have had a little help from an unexpected visitor from way out yonder. The Cambrian explosion. Don't be shy now. Drop your thoughts and questions about all this in the comment section below. We're all ears and eager to hear what you're thinking. Part 3. The Cambrian Conundrum. Could a cosmic arrival have sparked life's Big Bang? Welcome back, everyone. In our last chinwag, we explored some of the mighty interesting scientific clues that suggest life, or at least its basic ingredients, might just be able to hitch a ride across the vastness of space. Now, we're going to turn our attention to a real head-scratcher in the history of life right here on Earth. The Cambrian explosion. This was a period way back in the day when life on our planet went from kinda simple to just bow fa de ni, diverse in a relatively short amount of geological time. And some folks have wondered if maybe a little something from outer space might have had a hand in it. Now, as most of you recall from your high school science days, the Cambrian period kicked off around 541 million years ago. Before that, for billions of years, life on Earth was mostly single-celled critters like bacteria. We had some simple multicellular organisms showing up here and there, but overall, the life scene was kinda basic. Then, out of the blue, geologically speaking, something truly remarkable happened. In what's known as the Cambrian explosion, we saw a sudden and rapid appearance and diversification of pretty much all the major groups of animals. The big categories like arthropods, think insects and crabs, mollusks, like clams and snails, and chordates, that's us and our vertebrate buddies. Creatures with hard shells, skeletons, and complex body plans seemed to pop up almost overnight in the fossil record. It was a real biological boom, a major turning point in the story of life, and what exactly caused it is still a hot topic of debate amongst the smarty-pants scientists. So, what set off this incredible burst of biological innovation? There are a bunch of theories out there. Some folks point to a big increase in the amount of oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere and oceans around that time, which could have provided the energy needed for more complex life forms. Others suggest it might have been the end of a long ice age, making the oceans more hospitable. And some think it was the evolution of some newfangled genes that controlled how bodies developed. All these are plausible ideas, and they likely played a role. But then you've got a more out there idea, one that circles back to our discussion about panspermia. A few brave scientists have wondered, could a wave of more complex life, maybe in the form of tough little spores or even the eggs of some alien critter, have hitched a ride on a comet or asteroid and landed on Earth around the start of the Cambrian period? The thinking goes like this. Imagine a comet or a big old space rock carrying some biological material that was a bit more advanced than the simple microbes we've been talking about. When this thing slammed into Earth, it could have introduced a whole new level of biological complexity, kind of like planting a more advanced seed in fertile ground. This sudden influx of new genetic material or even new types of organisms could have then kick-started a rapid evolutionary diversification, leading to the Cambrian explosion we see in the fossils. Now, some folks who entertain this idea even point to the kind of peculiar features of certain animal groups that showed up in the Cambrian, like the octopus. Think about it. These fellas are smart as a whip, can change their color and texture like a chameleon on a disco ball, and have a nervous system that's spread out all over their bodies, not just in their brain. They're kinda different from a lot of other critters. A few daring scientists have even wondered if these unique traits might hint at a completely different evolutionary history, maybe one that didn't start right here on Earth. However, and this is a big however, the idea of the Cambrian explosion being directly caused by panspermia is still a pretty fringe theory, and most scientists aren't exactly jumping on that bandwagon just yet. The majority still lean towards explanations that involve things happening right here on Earth. The fossil record, while amazing, still has gaps, and it's tough to definitively say what triggered such a rapid change. Still, it's kind of fun to think about, ain't it? The idea that maybe a little something from way out there could have played a part in the incredible diversity of life we see around us today. It just goes to show you that the history of life on Earth might have some real surprising twists and turns that we haven't fully figured out yet. Could the vast cosmos have played a hand in our own family tree? It's a question that keeps those scientific minds churning. Next up, we're going to broaden our horizons even further and take a look at the potential for life to exist in other locations throughout the vast universe. If life could travel here, could it be living it up somewhere else too? Don't be shy now. Share your thoughts on the Cambrian explosion and this cosmic seeding idea down in the comments. We're all ears. Part 4. Beyond our blue marble. Imagining life's footholds across the cosmos. Welcome back, folks. In our last confab, we pondered the mighty, curious Cambrian explosion and the head-scratching possibility that maybe a little something from the great beyond might have given life on Earth a bit of a jump start. Now, we're going to zoom out, way out, and cast our gaze across the vastness of space to consider a truly mind-boggling question. Could life, in some form or another, be kicking back and thriving in other corners of this here universe? If the basic ingredients, or even the microscopic fellas themselves, can hitch a ride across the stars as panspermia suggests, then it sure does make you wonder if there are other welcoming oases out there. Right here in our own solar system, closer to home, smart folks with telescopes and probes have been sniffing around and identifying a few places that just might be able to support life, at least at the microbial level. Take our rusty neighbor Mars, for instance. Way back when, it wasn't the cold, dry desert we see today. Evidence suggests it was a much warmer, wetter place with rivers and lakes flowing across its surface. Now, while it's mostly frozen and arid up top, there's still plenty of water ice under the hood, and some sharp cookies think that maybe, just maybe, little microscopic critters could still be eating and sleeping down in those protected underground nooks and crannies. We've even sent rovers and orbiters up there to poke around and sniff for signs of past or present life, and what they find in the years to come could be a real game changer. Then you've got the icy moons of those big old gas giant planets like Jupiter and Saturn. These places might seem like frozen wastelands on the surface, but some mighty interesting things are happening underneath. Take Europa, one of Jupiter's many moons. Scientists believe it's got a huge ocean of liquid water sloshing around deep beneath its icy shell. The powerful gravitational pull of Jupiter is likely keeping that water liquid, and if there are hydrothermal vents down on that ocean floor, kind of like the ones we've got down in our own oceans, well, those could be pumping out energy and chemicals that life could gobble up. Same goes for Enceladus, a moon of Saturn. It's also got a subsurface ocean, and spacecraft have even spotted plumes of water vapor and ice particles shooting out from cracks on its surface. And guess what? They've found organic molecules in those plumes. That sure does paint a picture of another potential hangout for some hardy microbes. But the possibilities don't stop there. Even some of the more unusual spots are getting a closer look. Titan, Saturn's biggest moon, has a thick atmosphere and lakes and rivers on its surface, but they're made of liquid methane and ethane, not water like we're used to. Still, some forward-thinking scientists are wondering if maybe, just maybe, life based on a different kind of chemistry could make a living in those strange, frigid environments. And what about Venus, our super hot, cloudy neighbor? The surface is hotter than a biscuit oven, but some recent studies have suggested that up in those high-altitude clouds, where the temperatures are a bit milder, there might just be a niche where some airborne microbes could survive. Now, when you start looking beyond our own solar system, the sheer number of planets out there is just mind-boggling. These are the exoplanets, planets orbiting other stars. We've already found thousands of them, and many are sitting right in what's called the habitable zone, that Goldilocks region around a star where the temperature might be just right for liquid water to exist on the surface. Considering there are hundreds of billions of stars in our Milky Way galaxy alone, and hundreds of billions of other galaxies out there in the observable universe, the total number of potential homes for life could be so big it'd make your head spin. Maybe trillions upon trillions. If life can indeed hopscotch across the cosmos via Panspermia, then all these potentially habitable planets and moons could be like new gardens, just waiting for those cosmic seeds to arrive and take root, potentially creating a vast, interconnected web of life spread out across the universe. The search for life beyond Earth ain't just a fun little science project. It's a fundamental quest to understand our place in the grand scheme of things and to answer that age-old question: are we truly alone? In our next part, we're going to shift gears a bit and talk about the importance of connecting with each other and building a community around these here big ideas. So, what do you think? Are there little green men or maybe little blue microbes out there somewhere? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We're all ears. Part 5. Joining the cosmic conversation. Connecting and supporting our journey of discovery. Welcome back, everyone. If you're finding these here discussions about the vast universe, the mysteries of life's origins, and the tantalizing possibilities of life beyond Earth as captivating as we do, then we'd sure love for you to become a part of our growing community of cosmic explorers. One of the easiest and most helpful things you can do is to give that there subscribe button a good solid click right now. Subscribing means you won't miss out on any of our future explorations into the wonders of the cosmos. And it also gives us a real shot in the arm, knowing that folks out there are enjoying and appreciating what we're doing. It helps us keep the telescope pointed towards the stars, so to speak. But our connection doesn't have to stop at just watching the videos. We've also built a friendly and engaging place where we can all gather around the virtual campfire and share our thoughts, ponder the big questions, and maybe even swap a few cosmic yarns. Our online community forum. Think of it like a cozy town hall meeting for folks who are just as fascinated by the universe as you are. It's a spot where you can connect with fellow enthusiasts from all walks of life, share your own insights and ideas sparked by these discussions, ask those burning questions that keep you up at night, and really dig deeper into the subjects we touch upon in our videos. Whether you've got a lifelong passion for astronomy or you're just starting to peek behind the cosmic curtain, you'll find a warm welcome there. You can find a handy-dandy link to our community forum down in the video description. Just click on through and join the conversation. We'd sure love to hear what's on your mind. Now, for those of you who like to stay in the loop and get the latest updates from our little corner of the cosmos, we also like to share little tidbits, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and interesting articles on our social media pages. You can find us on platforms like the old reliable Facebook, the snappy Twitter, and the picture-sharing spot, Instagram. You'll find all the links to our social hangouts conveniently located down in the video description as well. Following us, there is a great way to get those little daily doses of cosmic wonder and stay connected with our community on a more casual basis. We often post little teasers about upcoming videos, share interesting space news, and sometimes even ask for your input on what topics you'd like us to explore next. It's all part of keeping the conversation going. Now, as you can imagine, putting together these videos, doing the research, and keeping the channel running smoothly takes a fair bit of time, effort, and, well, a little bit of the green stuff. If you truly enjoy the content we're bringing you, and you'd like to lend us a hand in keeping the cosmic lights on, there are a couple of ways you can directly support our efforts. One of the most meaningful ways is by becoming a supporter over on Patreon. Think of Patreon as a way to become a patron of the arts, but instead of supporting a painter or a musician, you're supporting our little educational journey through the universe. For a small monthly contribution, you can become a patron and help us continue to create the kind of content you enjoy. As a little thank you for your support, we often offer some nice perks like early access to our videos before they go public, exclusive bonus content that you won't find anywhere else, and even opportunities for some direct interaction with us. Every little bit helps us invest in better equipment, more in-depth research, and ultimately bring you even better explorations of the cosmos. You can find a direct link to our Patreon page down in the video description. Every star helps us shine brighter. Another fantastic way to show your appreciation and support the channel is by checking out our little merchandise store. We've got a few fun items there, from comfy t-shirts and handy mugs to other little trinkets that let you show off your inner space enthusiast. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee out of a cosmic mug or wearing a shirt that declares your love for the universe, every purchase you make not only gets you a cool item, but also helps support the channel and allows us to keep exploring those big, beautiful questions. The link to our merchandise store is also right there in the video description for your convenience. Ultimately, this whole endeavor is a community effort. We're all here because we share that same sense of wonder and curiosity about the universe and our place within it. Your engagement, your thoughtful comments, the way you share our videos with your friends and family, and any support you offer, in whatever form it takes, is truly invaluable to us. Thank you for being such an important part of our journey of discovery. In our final segment, we're going to take a step back and ponder some of the broader implications of this whole panspermia idea and some of the big unanswered questions that still linger out there in the cosmic fog. So, please do join our online community forum. The link is waiting for you down below. We're eager to hear your thoughts and keep this cosmic conversation rolling. Now, let's gather round one last time to reflect on the broader implications and some of the still unanswered cosmic queries that dance around the fascinating theory of panspermia. Part 6, Panspermia, reflecting on a universe teeming with possibilities. Welcome back, everyone, for our final part in this exploration of the captivating idea of panspermia. Over our recent conversations, we've journeyed through the core concept, the notion that the fundamental ingredients of life, or even life in its simplest microbial forms, might traverse the immense distances of space, carried on cosmic travelers like comets and asteroids, eventually seeding new worlds. We've considered the remarkable resilience of certain tiny organisms to the harsh realities of the vacuum and radiation of space, the surprising discovery of organic molecules, the very building blocks of life as we know it, within comets and asteroids, and the intriguing, though still debated, possibility that the Cambrian explosion, that sudden burst of diverse life on Earth hundreds of millions of years ago, might have been sparked by an extraterrestrial delivery. Now, as we bring our discussion to a close, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the broader implications of the panspermia theory. If life isn't a phenomenon unique to Earth, if the seeds of life are indeed scattered throughout the galaxy, perhaps even the universe, then our understanding of our place in the cosmos undergoes a profound shift. It opens up the breathtaking possibility that life might be far more common than we currently imagine. Think about that for a moment. Instead of being a singular miracle on a lonely planet, we might be part of a vast, interconnected web of life, with origins stretching back to distant stars, and perhaps even other galaxies. This idea has profound implications for the ongoing search for extraterrestrial life. If panspermia is a viable mechanism for spreading life, then the places we should be looking for life might extend beyond just planets that resemble early Earth. We might need to consider moons orbiting gas giants like Europa and Enceladus, which harbor subsurface oceans and show evidence of organic molecules. If life can be transported and take root in such diverse environments, the number of potential habitats in the universe could be truly astronomical. Furthermore, Panspermia raises some truly fundamental questions about the very nature of life itself. If life can survive the extreme conditions of space travel, it suggests a robustness and adaptability that we are only beginning to comprehend. It challenges our assumptions about the environments necessary for life to originate and persist. Perhaps life, in its most basic forms, is far more tenacious and versatile than we ever thought possible. Consider the implications for our own origins. If life on Earth was indeed seeded from elsewhere, then we are, in a very real sense, cosmic immigrants. Our ancestors, in their most primordial forms, might have originated on a planet orbiting a distant star, a star that may no longer even exist. This perspective connects us to the universe in a way that is both humbling and awe-inspiring. We are not just inhabitants of Earth, we are part of a larger cosmic story, a story that is still being written. Of course, Panspermia is not without its challenges and unanswered questions. One of the biggest hurdles is understanding the precise mechanisms by which life could survive the journey through space. While we've seen the remarkable resilience of some microorganisms, the long-term effects of radiation, the vacuum, and extreme temperature fluctuations over millions of years are still not fully understood. How would these tiny travelers be protected during their interstellar voyages? Perhaps they are shielded within larger rocks or icy bodies, but the details remain a subject of ongoing scientific inquiry. Another key question revolves around the transfer process itself. How likely is it for a rock containing viable life to be ejected from one planetary system and successfully captured by another? While we know that material can be exchanged within our own solar system, the distances between stars are vast. However, over the immense time scales of the universe, even low probabilities can result in significant events. Perhaps early star systems, which were likely more crowded, facilitated these transfers more readily. And then there's the ultimate question: where did life originate in the first place? Panspermia doesn't answer that fundamental question. It simply shifts the location. Even if life on Earth was seeded from elsewhere, that life must have originated somewhere. So, the search for the very first spark of life, the process of abiogenesis, remains one of the greatest scientific challenges. As we continue to explore the cosmos with increasingly sophisticated tools and techniques, we are likely to uncover more clues that could either support or challenge the theory of panspermia. Missions to comets and asteroids will provide us with more detailed analyses of their organic content. The ongoing search for exoplanets and the characterization of their atmospheres will help us identify other potentially habitable worlds. And the continued study of extremophiles on Earth will give us a better understanding of the limits and adaptability of life. Ultimately, the idea of panspermia reminds us that the universe is a dynamic and interconnected place. The story of life on Earth may be just one chapter in a much grander cosmic narrative. By considering the possibility of life's interstellar journey, we open ourselves up to a universe teeming with possibilities. A universe where we might not be so alone after all. It's a humbling and exhilarating prospect, one that encourages us to continue exploring, questioning and seeking our place among the stars. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of panspermia. It's a topic that truly ignites the imagination and underscores the profound mysteries that still await us in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Keep looking up, keep wondering, and who knows what amazing discoveries the future holds. Until next time, take care.